One of the great things about using the convection mode in your oven to prepare an evening meal is the fact that it's so easy to layer in the various dishes and you don't have to stand at the stovetop while the meal is cooking. For this meal we're preparing a roasted tri-tip, some roasted sweet potatoes and broccoli, and a roasted corn salsa. First of all, we preheated the oven to convection roast 325. We cook the meat at 325 and then we give it a little high heat finish to get some sear and color. There was so little fat on this meat, too high a temperature just really would have dried it out. But we're certain with convection we can keep that moisture in the meat. And of course we do that by placing the meat on the rack in the shallow pan. When the oven came to temperature, we placed the meat in the oven and we used the oven meat probe. We set the internal temperature of the probe to 135. The oven gave us an indication that this would give us a medium rare finish. We estimated the cooking time to be about 30 minutes for the tri-tip, and so we were quickly able to slice up some broccoli and sweet potatoes. You can see we sliced the sweet potatoes quite thin so they would cook in the same time as the broccoli. Now the roasted corn salsa goes together very, very quickly. We used defrosted corn that had been frozen. We also put some red onion, some chopped up pasilla chili pepper, and we've added some little cherry tomatoes chopped up for color and for flavor. It's so easy. All you have to do is toss it with a little oil, spread it onto a baking sheet. When the beef had cooked and reached the internal temperature we set it to, the oven automatically turned off. So at that point, I changed the oven mode to convection broil, and I just set it for 4 minutes so I could get that sear and a bit of sizzle on the meat. It doesn't need much longer than that. Remember, the meat is already cooked. Once the meat comes out and it requires resting and carving, then we can put the vegetables in. The cooking time for the vegetables is 12 to 15 minutes. So by the time the meat has rested, by the time you've done the slicing, your vegetables are ready to serve. When the vegetables were cooked, we once again put a little bit of high heat from the broiler onto the corn. We wanted those kernels to look nice and caramelized. When we gave the corn the high heat finish with the broiler, we used the regular broil mode, not the convection broil mode. We needed to really get caramelization on the corn, and there's already a lot of moisture in it, so we could afford to dry it out just a little bit. Once you get used to switching between the modes, it becomes like cooking on a cooktop. When you see something's cooking too hot, you turn the flame down. If you need a little bit more heat, you turn it up. In the oven, we use temperature and modes to direct the heat where we want it, when we want it, to get the finish we want. We love cooking in convection, and this Bosch benchmark oven does an amazing job preparing a beautiful meal like this with very, very little fuss.